Hi, everyone. Welcome to our virtual Cooking at Home event. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Max Glick, and I'm the co-chair for the Santa Monica chapter for ARC. And joining me today is Carla, who's the co-chair of the Burbank chapter for Vamos. Hi, Carla.
Hey, Max. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Today we have some special guests joining us from Stage 13's travel and food series, Family Style. I'm sure everyone's hungry and ready to get started, so let's meet our guests. First up, let's meet our chef, restaurateur, cookbook author, and featured guest on season 1 of Family Style, Chef Nguyen Tran.
This is what people think when they think of spam. They go, oh, gross. Even though the funny thing about it is usually white people that make fun of spam, but they're the ones that made it. Was it World War I, Hormel? They think Hawaiians and Asians are all about it. We just stole it. We appropriated it like a mother.
Hi,
Thanks
Chef.
for joining us from the Starry Kitchen.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to show you guys how to make garlic noodles so you never have to come to my restaurant ever again.
Well,
Or to the contrary.
let's not hope that. Oh, yeah.
So we can get the real deal instead.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. This will be a lot of fun.
So up next, we have one of the hosts of Family Style, Lana McKissack.
Have you tried durian before?
Is that jackfruit?
No.
It's jackfruit's really smelly cousin.
No.
Well, you just did.
That's durian.
All right, I like it.
I almost threw up just smelling it.
Really? I'm sorry that your plan backfired and I liked durian.
Hi, Lana.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for
How's it
having
going?
me. I'm so excited.
So next, let's welcome the actor best known for his role on Fresh Off the Boat and season 1 guest of Family Style and soon-to-be Harvard freshman, Hudson Yang.
My mom's side of the family has always been really food-based. My mom's been working in the kitchen since she was 8 years old. My grandparents both came from Taiwan, and they opened a Chinese restaurant. My grandmother, my ama, she was the first person who ever taught me to cook, so she always made these really Asian meals, like with dumplings and like noodles that were really, really good. And so when I first started cooking, she was the one next to me. So I'd always cook like my favorite foods, like peanut butter noodles, something that I ate all the time.
Hey, Hudson. How's it going?
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate having you here today. Are you? We learned from Family Style you really know your way around the kitchen. Are you excited to learn a new recipe today?
I'm super excited, and I wouldn't say like I know we're in the kitchen. I really enjoy cooking, and I want to get better at it. So I'm glad to be here today.
Perfect. Yeah, we're all students today for Chef Tran. So unfortunately, Parvash China was not able to join us today. He got an exciting opportunity last minute, but he sent us this video for us to share.
Hi everyone, I'm so sorry I can't make it. It's me, Parvash China, Foodie Fam. Right? They still dab. No? Okay. Enjoy. I wish I was there to eat the noodles. I have some work in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. And enjoy. And Foodie Fam. And thank you. Eat. I'm hungry. This is not fair. Sandra? She's not here.
So now I guess it's time for lunch. Chef, why don't you lead us away?
The many dishes we make, one is something we call the garlic noodles. And I don't know if you know, we started out of our apartment, and this has evolved since we started out of our apartment as a legal restaurant, like 11, 12 years ago. We used to use like spaghetti noodles and linguine noodles, and now we use fresh ramen noodles. The first thing we usually do with the noodles is we actually break it up. You need minced garlic, chicken powder, and we usually use lee kum kee. But if you're vegetarian, we use mushroom powder instead. You don't necessarily need to use this, but this is brown butter. Do you see how that is actually dark? Can we use rice noodles? Yes, but in the final step, yes and no. The hard part about rice noodles is flavor doesn't stick to rice noodles very well. But in the final step, that might be the way you kind of steer the flavor in, right? So, I mean, ultimately, you can use. Why not? Why not? You could use whatever noodles you want. That is the answer. By the way, there's a question up here because we're still cooking. It's been up here for a while, actually. It says, we have all spent so much time cooking at home this past year. Has anyone learned how to cook something new in this time?
I started smoking, like not cigarettes, but smoking meats. That was really cool.
But hey, that's the new commercial. Smoking meat's good. Smoking bad.
Exactly.
I started baking a lot.
Woo!
Same. I learned how to make bread for the first time because I felt like that was very pandemic-y, and I kept seeing these
Very
loaves on
trendy.
people's social media.
I mean, the best way to cook noodles, the other thing you have to set up, and I'm gonna take my food cam right here, is to set up an ice bath.
Oh,
I already have noodles in my ice bath.
Oh, nice.
As we celebrate Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, what does being Asian and Pacific Islander mean to you?
it means having a rich culture from which to draw. I'm mixed. I'm half Japanese, half Asian. Much. But it means to experience growing up in Los Angeles. I had a lot of, burgers and pizza and that kind of thing. But I also got to have my mom's awesome cooking and her sushi and her yakisoba and gyoza and all kinds of delicious food. And I went to Japanese school as a kid, and I love having different heritages from which to draw and to learn new things and to be part of multiple groups. That's all very nice.
I went to Japanese school also when I was for high school, 9th and 10th grade. We had it at my local Buddhist church, and so I went. It was taught all in Japanese, so it was hard for me to understand, but it definitely forced me to learn a lot more.
Generally, just being comfortable in my skin and understanding where I come from and having appreciation of that. When I grew up, honestly, the funny thing about making Asian food now is I pretty much rejected most Asian food up until I was 18 because I was trying not to be different, right? I was trying not, it's not to say that I wanted to be white. I just didn't want to be Vietnamese, right? I didn't want to be outed for that all the time, and that meant me also shunning the food of my culture, and even though I grew up on it, I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have. I just being comfortable and understanding where I come from, and I'll give you one good example. Like, my parents didn't share very much, and I know that's a very Asian thing. And my mom one time would share one story about the Vietnam War with me. This is going to be kind of a downer, but she said that in her village, she was like 12 or 13. In her village, the VC, they come digging a hole in the village, and they didn't know what it was for, and then they lined up the elderly and buried them alive. And I know. And my mom was like, "This is why I can't talk to you about this because it's too traumatic for me to relive."
Thank you for sharing. I definitely think it's hard, especially for that older generation, to share stories like that. And like my grandmother is Okinawan, and she actually survived through the U.S. takeover of Okinawa, and so we actually don't know her birthday because her whole city was razed, and they had to redo all the records. And so when her eldest brother went to go redo all the records, he forgot what her birthday was, so he just picked some random day. And so we know it's in June, but we don't know the exact date. But yeah, I definitely can relate. Because there's definitely times where we don't. I feel it's hard to try to ask about these things too, because you don't want to bring up bad memories, and but I think it's also important to know and have that history, so that we make sure it doesn't happen again.
I mean, that's a really tough question I've always kind of struggled to answer because I've grown up in a primarily American household. To me, it just means to kind of honor my ancestors. My grandmother, my grandfather, and everyone before them. I kind of live every day trying to make sure that the hard work that my parents and grandparents went through to get me here and give me a good life and teach me their morals doesn't fall off and get replaced with American societal norms and moralities. So I guess, yeah, like you guys were saying, it's more important to remember than to try to forget or replace history.
I definitely think it's important to honor your traditions and keep those keep stories going and pass them down.
You know, Max, I just wanted to add something. You know, obviously
Sure.
not being Asian myself, but my parents are both immigrants, so I hear these stories and just really resonate with a lot of the same experiences. And I found myself, it's funny now that I have kids of my own, I realize how much more I want those stories to pass on to my own kids so that they can have a strong sense of culture and like what it means, and almost hear it from that first generation lived experience that, you know, lived and came. And so I love hearing these stories so much because it's the reminder that as much as there's a lot of differences, like there's a lot of similarities from a cultural standpoint too, you know?
Playing off of that too, are there any foods in your culture that are similar to these garlic noodles, or anything that it reminds you specifically about your culture?
I was thinking about it when I was looking at the recipe, and I was like, wow, you know, I don't really remember a ton of noodles growing up, except when my parents were trying to, you know, make spaghetti or, you know, have that American, you know, I mean, rice is so heavy in our culture. Like we would have spaghetti and still have like rice, you know, because it was just part of like, oh, we just make rice every day. Like that's what we do. But I was able to ask my Vamos board, and they came up with, actually, to like learn new things. Apparently, Peruvian cuisine has a lot of Asian influence in some of the dishes. So one of my board members shared that she makes Peruvian tallarines saltados. And it's noodles, it has some soy sauce, it has some beef. And it kind of sounded, I'm like, oh, that's not so different from some of the, you know, ingredients that I was seeing here. Just, you know, add a little cilantro and make it Peruvian. So
If you want to try to make it, buy this book. Just saying.
Yes.
Adventures of Starry Kitchen by Nguyen Tran. Great recipes in here.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Just to wrap up, Hudson, Lana, Chef, anything coming up or anything you want to share with us?
Well, on my adventures of cooking, this summer I'm going to Taiwan, and I'm going to be cooking in a restaurant out there, living out there for a couple months. And, you know, hopefully after college, I will be opening my own restaurant. We'll see. I'm planning on it, hoping for it. So you're all invited. Just keep your eyes out for whatever this man has next.
I don't want to open restaurants anymore, so I think I'll be a janitor at Hudson's restaurant. You know what's coming up next? I have no idea, but I'm happy to be the janitor at Hudson's restaurant whenever he opens it. So I can advise him not to open it.
I've got a couple animated series and video games that I've been doing over the pandemic coming out, but I'm not allowed to say what they are, so it's a terrible answer and I apologize. I will also be a janitor at Hudson's restaurant.
You're all welcome to, by the way. I have like 3 janitor spots available, I'm sure.
Oh!
Well, 2 are taken now, so somebody else has to call the last one.
I thought we were gonna fight for it, but now we can just be friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just visit. I will just be a patron because I love trying new restaurants. So
Yeah, we got 2 new customers here.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. You can also continue the cooking fun by watching episodes of Family Style on Stage 13's website, and continue the chat on Facebook through their group Family Style Foodie Fans. So thanks everyone. Enjoy your garlic noodles, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks everyone.
Can someone save me some? Like, freeze it.
Food, it's food. Family Style is back for seconds with new foods. Ooh, I can't wait.
You got your steak, sushi, tuna, salmon.
We just dig in.
It tastes healthy and I feel healthy. Boom. Have you tried chicken feet before?
I've never tried chicken feet. With new friends.
I'd like you to meet Shannon Lee, daughter of Bruce Lee.
Wow. Jimmy O Yang. Jimmy O Yang. And new conversations.
I became flexitarian recently.
Power was that he could literally eat anything. I was 8 years old when we immigrated to the U.S. My parents worked really hard to make sure that we had a good childhood.
The next step is defining what Asian American is or mixed race. It's that natural
fusion. Grab a plate, get your friends, and let's talk.
Is it true that a lot of Koreans, they like every meal has to have some kimchi?
Yes.
How much kimchi do you produce here every day?
This is delicious.
That was amazing.
What a story! Really 3-act structure in this unscripted show.